Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Dominica's Prime Minister brings a former opposition MP into his cabinet and names a Deputy Prime Minister for the first time. Now that's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, April 8-11. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. A week after resigning from the main opposition United Workers' Party, the UWP, Joseph Isaac has joined Roosevelt Skerritt's cabinet. The Prime Minister announced Tuesday night that Isaac will head the newly created Ministry of the Environment, Climate Resilience, Disaster Mitigation and Urban Renewal, as he revealed changes to his cabinet that also include the appointment of a Deputy Prime Minister. Skerritt said the cabinet reshuffle was necessary to facilitate new efforts at rebuilding the country, which was devastated by Hurricane Maria last September. Isaac left the opposition party last Wednesday, citing its policy of putting party before country as the reason for his departure, and said he would sit as an independent member of Parliament. Skerritt said in his address to the nation that he met with the Roseau Central MP a day after his resignation announcement, and the cabinet offer was eventually made.
Consequent upon our meeting last Thursday, and after consultation with senior members of the government and the governing Dominica Labour Party, I subsequently contacted Mr. Isaac and extended to him an invitation to serve in the government of Dominica in the capacity as a Minister of Government. Honorable Isaac, after consulting with his key advisors, accepted that invitation. Honorable Isaac has not at this point joined the Dominica Labour Party, but he has satisfied me of his focus in wanting to help the people of Roseau Central and to put his skills and services at the disposal of the government in the building of the new Dominica.
The Prime Minister also announced Reginald Austrie as his Deputy Prime Minister.
I believe that the time for this has come, not necessarily from a successor perspective, as I do not believe the issue of leadership is something that can be bequeathed from one leader to another. However, I believe that for matters of continuity and seamless transition in the day-to-day functioning of government, there is benefit at this time in my naming a Deputy Prime Minister who shall not only act as Prime Minister in my absence from the country, but who shall also be tasked with several administrative functions in the harnessing and coordination of the various ministries. That individual, incidentally, shall also be assigned the all-important portfolio of agriculture, food, and fisheries.
The other major change Skerritt announced was that from Thursday, he would assume ultimate ministerial responsibility for housing, even though Johnson Drigo will be the minister in the Ministry of Housing and Lands dealing with the day-to-day operations. The Prime Minister said he took the decision because he believes the next 2 years will be critical to the success of Dominica's national rebuilding objectives. During his address, Prime Minister Skerritt also outlined various projects and initiatives being taken to rehabilitate the hurricane-battered island, and he said his government has made considerable strides since Hurricane Maria hit the island on September 18 as a Category 5 storm, killing at least 30 people and leaving $3.5 billion in damage. Skerritt reported that approximately $141.5 million has been approved for various aspects of relief and early recovery, including establishing access to communities and the provision of food, water, shelter, and other basic needs. He said only 4% of the population is still relying on water trucks. All primary and secondary roads have been cleared, and the main ports are open and back on the electricity grid. Skerritt said his government is also now moving aggressively to provide jobs.
We have launched an offensive on the displacement of workers due to the hurricane. To date, 510 applications have been received, and job placements for some will commence this month. We have targeted the creation of 1,200 jobs in the public sector, and I am pleased to report that all the positions have been identified, including 100 new positions for the police force.
A Supreme Court judge in Jamaica has halted the trial of 3 soldiers charged with the murder of a chartered accountant during the hunt for alleged drug kingpin Christopher Dudas Coke in 2010. On Wednesday, Justice Glenn Brown ruled that the issue as to whether the members of the Jamaica Defense Force were legally granted immunity from prosecution by former National Security Minister Peter Bunton should first be settled in court. But just before the judge handed down his ruling, Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn implored him not to stay the trial, saying that Bunton's decision to issue the certificate of immunity 4 years after the soldiers were indicted was an attempt to interfere with her powers to initiate prosecution in the matter. But attorney Paul Beswick, who is representing the soldiers, said the DPP was accusing the former minister of corruption and reiterated the position that the validity of the certificates must be settled by the court. Meanwhile, another attorney in Jamaica thinks it's time for the country to rethink immunity provisions granted under states of emergency. Bert Samuels says every state of emergency has the same regulations that protect soldiers from prosecution. We apologize for not having any audio in that clip. We, however, move over now to Grenada, where 5 police officers accused of causing the death of a Canadian visitor in 2011 will appear in court on April 20th. Director of Public Prosecutions Christopher Nelson said the men were arraigned on Tuesday. They were each placed on $30,000 EC bail. Attorney Anselm Clouden, who is defending 3 of the police officers, said he hopes a date for the trial will be set at the case management hearing that was set for next Friday. The police officers, Edward Gibson, Kenton Hazard, Rudy Felix, Sean Garnes, and Wendell Sylvester, have been jointly charged with manslaughter. They allegedly beat Oscar Bartholomew, a Grenadian-born Canadian citizen, into a fatal coma on December 26, 2011. The incident is alleged to have occurred on the compound of the St. David's police station after Bartholomew bear-hugged a policewoman in plain clothes, whom he reportedly mistook for a long-time friend. Bartholomew had been in Grenada for the Christmas holidays with his wife. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, a former St. Lucia Prime Minister threatens legal action to force government's hand. We'll tell you who he is and exactly what he wants when we return. Stay with us.
There's an island just beyond the horizon, waiting for you to explore its deep treasures. Experience this and more at the Barbados Reggae Festival. 4 of the biggest reggae events, April 22nd to 29th, featuring the superstars of reggae, Maxi Priest, JC Lodge, Everton Blender, Johnny Osborne,
No ice cream sound.
Queen Ifrica, Jock Cure,
Anytime you need a lover, call on me.
Anthony B, Taurus Riley,
But anytime you decide if you pack up your things and leave, don't come back.
Idonia,
Yeah.
and many more. Purchase your event tickets from ticketlinks.com. For more details, follow Barbados Reggae Festival on Facebook or Instagram. Barbados, always on.
Well, Facebook now claims to have 2 billion users. 2 billion users, or approximately 28% of the entire population of planet Earth, now has a Facebook account. Those are extraordinary numbers and certainly unprecedented in the history of the world that one entity has access to that much data on so many people. Everything that anyone has ever posted on Facebook is residing on some hard drive somewhere, regardless of whether the original poster deleted it or not.
Former St. Lucia Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony is threatening to take legal action to force the government to renegotiate a multi-billion-dollar investment, the Pearl of the Caribbean project. The proposed $2.6 billion US project has been at the center of controversy since it was unveiled in 2016. It includes a horse racing track, high-end hotel and residences, a casino, free trade zone, and an equine disease-free zone, and a marina, and is being undertaken by the Hong Kong-based Desert Star Holdings, that's the DSH. Critics say the development poses serious environmental concerns and would also drive many farmers and small businesses into bankruptcy. But the Alan Chastanet administration has stoutly defended it as one of the most adventurous and ambitious projects in the Caribbean. It says the development is poised to make St. Lucia an even more unique destination and create economic activity as never before seen in the south of the island. But Anthony says he is prepared to proceed with legal action against the project.
There are a number of individuals and groups who have issues with the DSH program. I mean, there are farmers, for example, who are seriously affected. There are, as you know, NGOs in the community who have fought repeatedly and against DSH and questioned the very basis for DSH. We will see how that goes. What I can say is this, that this legal action is not just going to be premised on purely environmental issues. I mean, we have to go beyond that. But certainly it will have to be supported by testimony from other persons in the community. And of course, I suspect that there will be affidavits drawn from several individuals and community organizations.
The former Prime Minister says that he is looking forward to the legal battle.
I mean, the truth of the matter, I love to fight against individuals like that. I mean, who are prepared to use their money to interfere with processes like that. And there are so many examples where ordinary people have triumphed in circumstances similar to the situation we face here. And the good thing too, David, is this. The law has moved tremendously over the last couple of years. There have been some fascinating decisions coming out of Belize, for example, where the courts have refined their approach in terms of deciding what is in the public interest and what is not in the public interest.
Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says non-nationals who have nothing to offer the Twin Island nation need to get out of the country. While admitting that it was a sensitive topic and he did not want CARICOM nationals to think they were being profiled, Brown said there were many of them who were in the country without jobs and were burdening the society. Speaking on local radio, the Prime Minister said those who come into the country and have no positive contribution to make must be sent back home because they represent a threat to not only indigenous Antiguans but other immigrants living in the country. It was against that background that he said the monitoring of migrants in Antigua and Barbuda has to improve. A delegation representing non-governmental organizations in Cuba is participating in the side activities ahead of the 8th Summit of the Americas in an attempt to bring awareness to the country's desire to have the U.S. economic embargo lifted. The main meeting of the government ministers is scheduled to begin in Peru later this week under the theme Democratic Governance Against Corruption. We get more in this report from Richards of Cornell Caribe in Cuba.
A delegation of 170 members of various Cuban civil organizations are in Peru, participating in the side events to the 8th Summit of Heads of States and Government of the Americas, which will be held in the South American nation the coming 13 and 14 of April. Cuba's representatives are also in Peru to attend the People's Summit, an event that is already running and will close on the 14th, the last day of the two-day Summit of Heads of States and Government. The large Cuban delegation has also representations in the sessions of the Civil Society Forum, the Youth Meeting, the Business Debates, and also in the Parliamentarian Forum. The members of these civil societies are delivering the Cuban people's message to their American counterparts in the continent, including their claim for the end of the economic, commercial, and financial blockade imposed 55 years ago on Cuba by the government of the United States of America. This genocide politic of the White House constitutes an essential obstacle for the attainment of a sustainable development of the country. The Cuban delegation is made up of students, workers, scientists, athletes, religious people, women, farmers, communication workers, artists, intellectuals, economists, lawyers, health professionals, and other social strata. Cuba is also expressing in Peru its solidarity with the Bolivarian people of Venezuela, whose government was excluded from the high-level sessions of the summit.
The International Organization for Migration, IOM, has launched a regional action plan to bolster its response to the exodus from Venezuela amid the worsening political and socio-economic situation there. The IOM said that an estimated 1.6 million Venezuelans left the country last year, with about 1.3 million living in the Americas, including the Caribbean. So it has come up with a plan that has been tailored to specific national contexts across 17 countries, including 6 in the Caribbean. That plan seeks to strengthen the response to the needs and priorities expressed by concerned governments and focuses on activities such as data collection and dissemination, capacity building and coordination, direct support and socio-economic integration. And IOM Regional Director for South America, Diego Beltrand, is urging host countries to consider adopting measures such as regularizing the stay of Venezuelans. The United Nations says that since 2014, there has been a 2,000% increase in the number of Venezuelan nationals seeking asylum worldwide, principally among the Americas during the last year. Last week, the acting chief immigration officer in Trinidad and Tobago, Charmaine Gandhi Andrews, told a select joint committee of Parliament that an estimated 2,000 Venezuelans have applied for asylum in the Twin Island Republic in recent months. And ahead in Newsline Sport, another Jamaican woman secures a historic goal at the Commonwealth Games in Australia. Stay with us. Sport is next.
So what the OS is doing, it has several initiatives to channel these creative energies. The America's Competitiveness Forum has a whole range of initiatives where young people can develop their ideas, they present their ideas, they compete. We also have, for instance, an initiative by the OAS called the Small Business Centers.
This month, Caribbean Passport celebrates growth in the tourism sector, with Barbados winning the title of Best Destination in 2017. Grenada promoting Spice Mass. Trinidad and Tobago talks digital transformation, and Antigua and Barbuda heads into their sailing week. This and more coming up next on this station.
I love your French. You're from, or where are you born and raised?
I was born in Port-au-Prince.
Oh, and you were raised there as well?
I was raised in Haiti. I think that's the thing, right? People know I'm Haitian now, maybe, but then when they hear my Creole and they see that I actually speak Creole.
Yeah.
I spoke Creole growing up, so I had to,
Yeah, I had to speak Creole in the house too, believe it or not. But
no
for
way.
some reason, when I'm on camera,
it
disappears.
Yeah,
it's just, I don't understand.
Shit, no.
I don't understand, yeah.
Aisha Pratt produced an historic title for Jamaica in the women's 3,000 meter steeplechase at the Commonwealth Games on Wednesday, ending Kenya's dominance in the event and earning the Caribbean nation its third gold. The 28-year-old Pratt trailed pre-race favorite Selfine Chespol of Kenya entering the final lap and was still behind the world under-20 record holder coming off the final water jump. But she crossed the finish line in a time of 9 minutes 21 seconds to stun the field, forcing Chespol into second in 9 minutes 22.61 seconds. Chespol's teammate and defending champion Purity Kirui took bronze in 9 minutes 25.74 seconds. Meanwhile, Thursday's men's 200-meter final will boast 3 Caribbean sprinters as Jamaican Warren Weir, along with Trinidadian pair of Jareem Richards and Kyle Guru, have advanced from the semi-finals. The 28-year-old Weir, an Olympic bronze medalist in London, who also took silver at the last Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, finished 4th in semi-final 1 in 20.62 seconds, but qualified as one of the 2 fastest losers. In the women's equivalent, Olympic champions Elaine Thompson and Shauna Miller-Ubu they set up a down in the final when they were 2 of 5 Caribbean sprinters to advance. Thompson, the 200-meter champion, clocked 22.95 seconds as she finished second to Miller, who finished 22.48. 100-meter Commonwealth Games gold medalist Michelle Liai will not be running in the 4x100-meter relay, and this was confirmed by the Trinidadian, who stopped short of saying why she pulled out. TV6's Sergio Dufour reports.
After winning gold in the 100 meters at the Commonwealth Games, Michelle Liai whet the appetite of several sporting fans, hoping to see her tear it up again in the 4x100 meters. It's not going to happen though, with the athlete saying her coach says that's it. However, no explanation was given for why Ai pulled out. She would only say,
"Oh yeah, I'm not going really, because there's 100 and that's it. Yeah. They said they do, but they'll be alright. They don't know me. They got this."
The situation has prompted reflection upon what was Ai's real reason for not running, especially after she made the comment, "So I definitely won't be running the relay since home girl is future female track. My main focus for the Commonwealth Games is my individual event," end quote. Is this the reason why Ai won't be running the 4x100 meters? Former TNT sprinter Ayanna Hutchinson-Britton is one who is hoping the camaraderie issue isn't the reason Ai opted out. She says Ai should be running based on paper.
You should have expected to see her in the 4x1 because when she was selected to run both the 100 and the 4x1. I hope it's not injury or anything nagging that's causing her to pull out. Other than that, I think she should run.
She thinks that the team is not as strong as it could be, despite Ai saying, quote, "They got this."
Being as strong as she is, they tend to put the strongest run on the second leg. But that being said, we have other competent athletes on the team. Seymour Hackett, we have Kai Salvo, and we have Kamaria Durant. The team is not lacking for anything. Granted that Michelle being there would have been the best possible team.
Hutchinson-Britton does not believe a team rivalry should lead to separation, but believed rather they should have left it on the track.
You don't get a lot of time to practice, so you have to try and get it quick as possible, which that's where the trust comes in. That's where you don't have to be besties in order to get the stick around, but you have to trust your teammate to do their job in order to get the stick to you.
It's left to be seen, though, how the team will perform without Ai.
And Bermudan Flora Duffy, with a gold medal already under her belt, has withdrawn from the mountain bike race after deeming the course too risky before she races in an ITU World Triathlon Series in Bermuda later this month. The 30-year-old Duffy, who won gold in the women's triathlon, the game's opening event, made the tough decision to pull out after taking 2 days to familiarize herself with the course at Nerang State Forest. She described the trail as very raw, rocky, steep and difficult, and felt she could not justify putting herself at risk at this crucial stage of her career. Duffy will be the overwhelming favorite when she races at home on April 28, the first time the race has been held in Bermuda, and she bids to become the first woman to win 3 successive ITU titles, having won her first in Mexico in 2016 before repeating her success in Rotterdam last year. Over to football now. TNT football head coach Dennis Lawrence is scouting for new talent ahead of that country's international friendly against Panama. The former defender has called up a new-look team from mostly the Pro League division to assess whether they are ready for international duty. A young team minus senior players was put to the test with another team from Professional League over the weekend. And as we hear in this report from Ruskin Mark of C-Sport, Lawrence says he was pleased to see how they performed.
I think when I saw them played in the league, for what we were working on during the week, we were working on pressing the ball and we were working on trying to keep possession. I thought it would be the perfect game for us because I know they would try and play off on the back, which allowed us to work on the press. So I think it worked well for us to be able to work on the things that we worked on during the week.
The scoreline wasn't as important to the coach as the actual play during the game, and what he got from most of the contest was pleasing to the eye.
I'm seeing a good desire and a good determination to try and take on board the things that we want to work on. I thought today, though, even though for the opposition, I thought we gave away the ball very, very easily, and I think against more established opposition, I think we can pay the price for that, so we need to improve on that. So I think the group has come in and they've worked hard to try to take on board things, and we try to execute it today. So I was pleased with the efforts, I was pleased with the attitude. I think just in terms of our ball retainers, we need to improve on that a little bit.
The match was played in 3 30-minute periods, and the national team was banging them in, with Akeem Stewart netting a hat-trick to put his name on the minds of the coaches, who are always looking for players who could find the back of the net.
The final third, I wanted to expose the youngsters. I wanted to see whether they would take responsibility, whether they could understand. We're just having the guidance of the senior players behind the back, because I'm more or less left on the senior back four, to try and see if they can help them throughout the game. And I thought they did it quite well. We needed to try and see if we can up the gear a bit in the more attacking third, which we didn't really get. But in terms of the ball retainers, I think they did it very well in the third of the game.
All of this hard work is geared towards getting the team sharp and ready for their next test, which comes against Panama, a team that has been enjoying good results lately and should present a stern test for the predominantly local outfit.
What I'm hoping for is we can get our wrong team performance. I think when you rely on individuals, you're gambling, because if that individual doesn't perform, he picks up an injury, then you're struggling then. So what I'm hoping on is the team to come together and perform as a unit, and then that'll help us to get a result. Obviously, within the team, we've got individuals with special talent, like you saw Rian Moore today. Judah came on, did very well. Keaton has the ability to go past people. Akeem Roach got a hat-trick. So we've got individuals with talent, but I'm hoping for a team performance.
The team continues to prepare as Lawrence and his staff assess those who they think can put in a good shift in this game and who look ready to step up for the more difficult assignments down the road.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
There's an island just beyond the horizon, waiting for you to explore its deep treasures. Experience this and more at the Barbados Reggae Festival. 4 of the biggest reggae events, April 22nd to 29th, featuring the superstars of reggae, Maxi Priest, JC Lodge, Everton Blender, Johnny Osborne,
No ice cream sound,
Queen Ifrica, Ja Cure,
anytime you need a lover, call on
Anthony B, Taurus Riley,
but anytime you decide if you pack up your things and leave, don't come back.
Idonia,
Yeah.
and many more. Purchase your event tickets from ticketlinks.com. For more details, follow Barbados Reggae Festival on Facebook or Instagram. Barbados, always on.
Again, the major developments of this day. Dominica's Prime Minister brings a former opposition MP into his cabinet and names a deputy Prime Minister for the first time. And in sport, Aisha Pratt produces a historic title for Jamaica in the women's 3,000 meter steeplechase at the Commonwealth Games. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CondaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.